Hey guys, welcome to Neat Movie News. My name is Dean Thomas.
His name is Dean. We like Dean.
And I pulled a double feature today. Went and saw a couple movies that I've been really looking forward to. They're still in limited release, but you should start seeing them showing up in more and more theaters as we go forward. But the first movie I saw was the new kind of psychological thriller of sorts, Nocturnal Animals.
I didn't know you had an ex-husband. I've been thinking about him a lot lately. And then recently he sent me this book that he's written. It's violent and it's sad. And he dedicated it to me.
Now, I have never seen a Tom Ford movie before, but this is indeed directed by the fashion designer Tom Ford, and he did an incredible job with this movie. And the basic story is that Amy Adams plays kind of this, I believe she's some sort of artist. That's basically what I can describe her job description as. But she receives this book from her ex-husband, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's this book he's written titled Nocturnal Animals. And it's a very dark and really kind of disturbing story of a man whose wife and daughter are kidnapped from him, and then I don't want to give away too much more. I think you'll just have to go see the movie for yourself. But some things happen, and you kind of see the devastation that character goes through, and it's kind of sort of implied that this is has something to do with the way their marriage ended. Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal's characters, how that marriage ended, it did not end well. And it seems that this story the book is telling has something to do with that, or Amy Adams did something to Jake Gyllenhaal's character to make him feel this way. But this movie has got a very cool, unique style. It's kind of got a noir feel. It uses a lot of dark reds and blacks and golds. And I thought that was what was really interesting about this. Because Amy Adams' character in the real world of the movie is an artist, she's surrounded by some very surreal things. The way Tom Ford, designed some of the stuff or way he would shoot things has a very surreal feel. And then it's interesting because when you start to see the story in the book unfold on screen, it's very real, dark, and gritty. So I thought it was interesting that the real world came across as more surreal than the actual fictional story being told within the movie itself. But Tom Ford did a great job of directing this movie. There's some incredible shots. It's very easy to follow when he does some sort of action, but it's also just he builds tension so well. It's just the way he kind of lets these characters move within a scene, and then it's the characters themselves, because there's some crazy characters in this movie, and there are some fantastic performances.
When you love someone, you have to be careful with it. You might never get it again.
Jake Gyllenhaal is great as ever. There's a possibility of him getting nominated for an Oscar, in my opinion, because it is a dark character, and he went for it and he nailed it. Michael Shannon is really, really good, but kind of off-putting as the cop or the detective in the fictional story being told in the movie. But the real standout to me was Aaron Taylor Johnson. You may know him from movies like, Godzilla, and most recently he was Quicksilver in The Avengers. But he plays such a crazy character, so unlike anything I've ever seen him do before, and it's just captivating to watch him on screen. It is a weird, bizarre, dark character. He's like a ticking time bomb. You never know when something's going to happen. You're not sure when he's going to explode or even if he's going to explode. But there's just this tension building just because you don't trust his character and you never know what he's going to do next. And that was something really fun to watch. And if he does more roles like this, I think this kid's got a really great future ahead of him, because this was a crazy character. He went for it, and I thought he did an incredible job with it. Amy Adams is really good in the movie, but she's really not in it that much. That's one of the complaints they sort of had, is her character, while very necessary, didn't really show up that often, and a lot of the time it was just kind of, while you're telling the story of the book in the movie, you would just flash back to her to kind of see how she was reacting to the book, but it wasn't much there for her to really, really do for a good majority of the movie, so that was a little disappointing. But the main problem, I guess, if you want to call it a problem I had with this movie, is this movie sets it up like this story that within this book it has something to do with Amy Adams' character and what she did to her now ex-husband, but the movie doesn't ever really give you an ending. It hardly gives you an ending at all. Now, I like what they did as far as I thought the ending had something to sort of say, or it kind of gave you just enough, but it really did not answer a lot of the questions, and it just left it very, very open-ended. And while I can respect that decision as from a filmmaker standpoint, their point of view of just wanting to leave that kind of open, kind of up to your interpretation sort of a thing, but I thought this movie also raised a lot of questions and kind of told you to ask these questions and then never answered them. So that really kind of bothered me, and I was looking for a little bit more of putting a little bit of a bow on the story so I really know what was going on. So I wish maybe they had done that. So, but overall, that would be kind of my biggest complaint. And then, as I said, the other one was I wish Amy Adams had a little bit more to do. But this is a really good movie. It's not an easy movie to watch by any stretch. There's some very dark things, some very disturbing things. And this movie has one of the most bizarre and strange opening scenes I've ever seen. It's really, really weird and out there. And that has to do with that surreal thing I think Tom Ford was going for because of Amy Adams, her character being this sort of artist. But it was bizarre. But overall, for me, I thought Nocturnal Animals is a really good movie. Don't know if it'll squeak into my top 10 of the year, but it's a contender for sure right now. So I'm going to score this thing pretty high. I'm going to give Nocturnal Animals an 89%. Like I said, there's some really great directing, some great performances. I just wish the story had wrapped up just a little bit better, but it's still a really good movie, and I would highly recommend it to a lot of people if you can handle the darker sort of material, a lot like of Jake Gyllenhaal's movies of recent. He's been doing a lot of these sort of things. I just happen to like them a lot, but maybe that's just something about me. But there you guys have it. That's my review of Nocturnal Animals.
Nobody gets away with what you did. Nobody.
Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Neat Movie News for all the latest in the world of movies. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you back here next time.